101, sound one, take one.
These are high bush cranberries. Sorry.
Sound number 5.
These are high bush cranberries. No good.
Sound 15.
These are wild Oh, for gosh sake.
Many of the commercials you see on television begin life here on the island of Manhattan, the creative product of thousands of people at the more than 200 advertising agencies head in New York City. We're going to visit one of those agencies whose offices are on the top 8 floors of this building for a behind-the-scenes look at how an advertising agency's copywriters, art directors, and producers make a television commercial.
That's a pretty strong orange. Hi, Kenny.
Well, I have you all together. I have a new creative work that we're dishing out on Grape Nuts.
What kind of a due date do we have on this, Kenny?
We have 10 working days.
I think that's a fair amount of time.
I think so.
You have a strategy attached here?
Right, sure is.
Right.
I'll keep in touch.
Right, Kenny. Oh, this is the strategy that the account team briefed us on just recently. It's a new one, and I think it gives us a chance to do something that's really fresh and original in the cereal category.
I was going to say, one of the things that was pretty interesting about our trip was that we found out that Grape Nuts is actually baked like bread. It's made from natural ingredients, and based on that, I think we can come up with some pretty interesting executions.
Well, it sounds like you're off to a good start.
Okay, we're ready. So let's get to it.
Yep.
First big job of the copywriter art director team, to come up with an idea, a way of talking to people about Grape Nuts that's informative, interesting, and different.
Isn't there a man in this book that we were looking at the other day?
His name's Joel Gibbons. He's studied natural foods all his life, and he's written several books on the subject. I think it'd be very good.
I think he mentioned in this article cranberries, didn't he? Perhaps we could base our commercial on something like that, wild cranberries.
Should be.
What if we had, say, a scene in the snow, and he says something like, well, I'm gathering part of my breakfast, and you don't see anything but snow until you get to a close-up of the cranberry. And then we could go to an inside scene where he's putting the cranberries on the grape nuts.
How about if we have him up in the mountains?
Yeah, sort of a Western type of setting.
Featuring here in the foreground.
When do you think you'd be able to have all of this together, have this board together?
Tomorrow, say 4.
Well, can we get it a little quicker than that? We're kind of...
3:30?
Okay.
The storyboard is a blueprint of the commercial, showing key scenes in a series of still pictures.
I call Grape Nuts my back to nature cereal. And of course,
Next hurdle, selling the idea to B&B's top creative man.
Do you think that a lot of people will know who Joel Gibbons is? We think that a lot of people will. He's written several books and sold over 500,000 copies. This is one of them, Stalking the Good Life, and he's appeared on talk shows and written articles for national publications. I think that using him for Grape Nuts is a very good thing. Everything is completely covered with snow.
After the creative okay, the account group is taken through the storyboard, frame by frame, and they put their stamp of approval on it. Next, the client presentation. Account and creative show the commercial for the first time to the Post-Grape Nuts brand manager.
I like the idea. Do we, or have we talked to Gibbons yet? Do we know if he can be available?
Yes, casting has looked into that, and I think we're in pretty good shape. Ruthie, what did you find out?
Seems like a good idea. Let's go produce it.
With a commercial approved for production, a lot of things begin to happen.
Yeah, this is fun.
The commercial gets an eagle eye from the agency's lawyer.
Paul, you probably should have anyway, an affidavit, testimonial affidavit.
Yes.
Production technique clearance, network clearance.
I have all 3 filled. And this affidavit, as you can tell, also states by Gibbons that the statements made by him in the commercial are truthful, and it's notarized.
Good, you're all set. Have a good shoot.
I just hope we can find some snow at this time of year.
I'm sure you will.
The manager of production and the producer prepare the budget.
That's one of the exciting things I think about this production.
George Gage Productions is low bidder and gets the job. And in the pre-production meeting, director George Gage tells how he sees the commercial.
Snow out, barren trees,
right out there in the environment. 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 All I'm saying is we're going to go with the weather. Except for rain. Except for rain.
2,100 miles west of New York in the high snow country of Colorado, where the 15-man film crew has moved in for a 2-day shoot.
I'm Yule Gibbons.
The opening scene with Yule Gibbons runs 6 seconds in the commercial.
These are wild hybrids. Cut.
Down 7!
The director finally thinks he's got it after 4 hours and 22 different takes.
I'm Yule Gibbons. I'm gathering part of my breakfast. These are high bush cranberries.
About noon, the action and our star move to the next setup. A small log cabin almost buried in 8 feet of snow.
Guys, you can't talk on it, still please. Let's look at it once and then it's actually sweet taste. And then you'll be actually tasting. So I can get one bite in, maybe. It's naturally sweet taste bite reminds me of wild hickory nuts.
Its naturally sweet taste reminds me of wild hickory nuts. I call those grape nuts my back to nature cereal.
Making a commercial is hard, exacting work. But at the end of the day, there's usually time for a little relaxation.
Joe, where were you born? I was born in Texas, the state where George Washington was born.
I don't believe it.
Let me show you this interior sequence.
As an author of 5 books.
Back in New York, with 3,000 feet of exposed film, the creative team and the film editor go to work over the moviola.
It's that scenes that we've been talking about. There's a shot here, am I correct, Gary, where you can see more of the grape nuts and more of the berries.
This is really where a commercial happens. Selecting and splicing together exactly the right scenes. Boiling 30 minutes of film down to 30 seconds.
Grape nut interlock, ready to roll.
After a week of editing,
Roll on, Mike.
the moment everybody's been waiting for, the rough interlock. The creative group gathers in the darkened screening room for a first look at the commercial in its proper sequence. This is the moment of truth in the making of a commercial.
Grape nuts, my back to nature cereal.
You know, I think that really works out fine, you know. He comes off very nicely. Generally, I think it's a fine spot. Really came out very nicely.
Thank you.
After a little re-editing, the commercial is approved by the client and goes to the optical lab for an answer print. Here is the completed commercial.
I'm Yule Gibbons. I'm gathering part of my breakfast. These are high bush cranberries. Delicious with grape nuts and hot milk. As an author of 5 books on natural foods, I can recommend Post Grape Nuts. This crunchy cereal is made from natural ingredients, wholesome wheat and barley, and it's fortified with vitamins. Its naturally sweet taste reminds me of wild hickory nuts. I call grape nuts my back to nature cereal.